to the ACDT testing call number 76. Today is the 30th of March. Akash, can you start the stream, please? Yep, thanks. So welcome everybody to Awkward Devs testing call number 76. Today is the 30th of March 2026. Let's jump straight into it. We have the agenda. That quick. It's a bit shorter agenda today because Pari made the agenda and he couldn't make it to today's call. But let's go through Blob DevNet 0. Currently, it looks like Prism and Lighthouse are planning on trunk-ready implementations by the end of April. So we're going to try to do a rollout plan shortly following that. PandaOps team will run the trunk versions of Lighthouse and Prism with the partial cells implementations on about 300,000 validators. Other client teams, if you're still working on this and you have an update on the partial cell implementation, you may speak up now or put your comment in the chat. And we would like to onboard you to Blob DevNet 0 as soon as possible, hopefully.
Made some headway on it and getting closer. Will hopefully be in the next week or two. We'll be ready for DevNet.
Great, thanks. Not sure if anyone from Teku is around to comment on it also. I have opened a new PR targeting EIP 8136, which is the partial cell EIP, and I would like to include it in the Glamsterdam Meta EIP. I'm just curious what the client teams think about this change. As I don't think we're gonna be rolling this out much earlier than Glamsterdam anyway. Yeah, maybe everyone can take a look at this offline. Is there any other team that would like to comment on Blob DevNet 0? If not, then let's go to NFT DevNet 10, which is the 870 config. I'm not sure if Marius is on the call, maybe, or anyone else is working on 870 right now.
Yeah, maybe as a general comment also on this networking change for the fork. ETH70 is required for Amsterdam, at least if we want to go beyond the, well, I don't know what the exact number is, but the 80 million gas. Because if you don't require ETH70, then we have this syncing problem where you can create like this block where the logs go over this 10 megabytes, where you can't sync anymore. So I don't think we should actually introduce this to a different category, but it should be in the configured for inclusion because it is required for the fork. Just as a comment on that.
Well, it would be required for the fork if you also say that we want to have a gas limit of 80 million, right? And we don't currently have an EIP that would be raising the gas limit.
Yes, okay, that's a good point. Yeah, fair enough, fair enough.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we are going to have another EIP to raise the gas limit at the fork. If we do add one, then we could push it back. But for now, I would say that this is still an optional EIP for now. Yeah, so I'm not sure if we want to have 870 as a prerequisite for DevNet 3, Ball DevNet 3. Would every EL team would be happy with that? I see Lucas said that Nethermind has already 870. I assume then Remit would be fine. Any other EL teams can speak up? Maybe you can make the decision about that offline as well. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so Bezu also seem to have 870 and 71. I'm not sure if yeah, I'm not sure if you should have all three of them activated. And that will bring us to board administry discussions. Stefan, maybe you can take over.
Yeah, sure. So about definite 3, I think the main blocker is 837 still, especially the 2D gas accounting. There are some issues when I run the EVM fuzz scenario with the spammer. There are quite still a few orphan blocks. I managed to get it running stable with most clients individually, but if I mix the clients up or pair them together, then it breaks apart pretty quickly. One thing I found recently was in Geth, I think. I can share the link in a bit, but I shared it with the relevant teams already with the 2D accounting, where the block can go over the gas limit with either state or regular gas. And before, like, the classical gas limit for the block was informed, I think that was in Geth and in Nimbus so far. So there are still gaps in the testing, and as far as I understand, Spencer will release another version with some extra tests to get really the edge cases. It doesn't really make sense to start a DevNet if there are so many consensus-related issues, unless we just start the DevNet without any transactions, which I don't think either makes sense as well. And I've also, yeah, I mean, it's very brutal. It's also very tough to find issues. If I run them and I see orphan blocks, it's very hard because of the kind of difficulty of the accounting to see where the issue is. Yeah. Maybe Spencer, if you're on the call, maybe you could give an update on the next release that you're planning to make.
Hey everyone. Yeah, thanks, Stefan. I think one thing I would like to mention is that we're running all the tests from Osaka to Amsterdam now. So there will be some extra fails also related to 8037, but also unrelated. So if clients can take a look at those. Yeah, the next release won't really have any spec changes. I think where the spec is right now, I think we can stay with that and just focus on getting more test coverage. But yeah, we'll try and get a release out in the next day with extra tests. I think one thing I guess I would like to ask is maybe we can try and get someone assigned from each client team who is like visibly the person working on 8037. And then we can also get some extra resources in Steel, and we can just really try and push on with ironing out everything, because it's yeah, it's been going on for a while. I think overall there have definitely been amazing input from client teams. I think Dragan from Wrath has been extremely helpful in finding spec mismatches. But I think if we could maybe try and get a group of us together with even myself, Stefan, someone else from Steel, and then an individual person from each client team, we can maybe start just trying to iron everything out. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds great. Would it be possible also to get a quick update from the client, how it's going? Maybe from Nethermind?
So in terms of testing and spec, we recently fixed a lot of issues, and it's even shown in test, and we still have a few issues left, but it's comparable to the other clients now. in terms of parallel processing, we're still close, but not there yet. So hopefully, I really hope in a week we can say that it's available.
Okay, so would something like launching next week, Wednesday, be realistic?
It's optimistic, but maybe.
Okay. Then get someone from Geth here to give an update. If no one is here from Geth, let's go with Nimbus EL. Someone there? Everyone at ECC today. Then Aragon. Otherwise, Reth.
Let me follow up async, but next week should be good.
Okay, Bezu.
Yeah, same for us. I think we're more or less ready, so next week should be okay.
Okay, any updates regarding testing? Have you tested with another client as well, or just in Bezu networks?
Right now, just in Bezo networks. We need to check with kurtosis next, but at least according to the tests, we should be spec compliant. But yeah, we need to test with kurtosis.
Okay, great. Okay, I think that's it from my side for DevNet 3.
Thank you. So the next topic was Bold DevNet 4. I think it would be better not to talk about Bold DevNet 4 at least till we launch Bold DevNet 3. And also after that, I think it would be time to merge EPBS with block level access list. So maybe it's going to be prime time to start talking about Amsterdam DevNet 0. But before we do that, maybe we can start discussing EPBS DevNet 1 progress. Anyone from Prism? Maybe you can say how things are going.
Well, it seems Terence is not there. So I think we're good to go. Barnabas knows better than me how we are. He's finding bugs. There are some issues with blobs now, which I think they're fixed. There were some peering issues, but those peering issues would not happen on a DevNet, on a large DevNet. I think we're good to launch whenever you guys want.
Right. So Prism is almost ready, including all the PTC changes that we have been talking about in the past weeks. If you're listening and you're a CL client team, please push your changes into EPBS DevNet 1 branch and ping me when you are ready. Then we will be spinning up DevNet 1 basically as soon as possible once Prism is confirmed to be working. And then other clients can test their syncing capabilities with Checkpoint Sync as well. But yeah, it would be good to hear from the other client teams as well. I'm not sure if we have anyone else in the call that is working on PBS.
For Lighthouse, I think we could be ready this week. We're merging the Alpha 4 spec changes to our trunk bench tomorrow. We don't have checkpoint sync yet, but I think we have everything else. So maybe we can participate in DevNet 1 at Genesis and I think checkpoint sync would probably be ready by the end of the week or early next week.
Yeah, that sounds good. Can you let me know when it's either in trunk or in a feature branch, and then I can start testing with Prism?
Yeah, I'll spin up a DevNet 1 branch for you.
Okay, thanks. Yep, POTUS.
Yeah, I would feel better if we actually make checkpoint sync mandatory for this DevNet, or range sync, but then heavily tested on the server side for every participating client. Because if Lighthouse or if Prism fails, and then we can't checkpoint sync, or if Lighthouse fails and we can't checkpoint sync, and then Lighthouse starts range syncing, and then Prism is sending non-canonical payloads and these kind of things, we're going to be screwed quickly. So I really think we should aim to have checkpoint sync on all participating clients before they launch, and at least at the time they launch.
I mean, if
For what it
Lighthouse
worked, it was just a couple of lines on Prism, so I'm surprised that this would take a long time in Lighthouse. For us, it was after we had range syncing, it was just like 5 lines to add checkpoint sync.
They don't have range syncing either, I think, right?
Yeah, we don't have range sync. We've been dealing with a lot of other bugs like on our P2P. So most of the team's been like doing that. So we've just been kind of a skeleton crew for EPBS the last like 3 weeks. But yeah, I don't think it's too big of a change. So hopefully end of this week or early next week, it should be ready.
I think if you can be ready by Genesis and I can test interrupt, then that is going to be just as valuable as having checkpoint sync working. And then if you can push for end of the week checkpoint sync capabilities, that would be very good. You can test it on the running DevNet already. Okay, thank you. Anyone else would have an update for us?
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, Caleb.
Okay, so for Nimbus, we are currently upgrading to Alpha 4. I reckon it should be done by the end of the week, so we should be good to go by Thursday, Friday.
Okay, and do you have checkpoint sync?
Yes, we do have checkpoint sync, yes.
Okay, thank you. Yeah,
it's similar for Lodestar. We should have something end of the week. Just one question, do we plan to do blobs as well? Or is that still out of scope?
Yeah, so blobs would be, yeah, it's up to you guys, really.
I think it should be in scope for the DevNet, but we can easily agree not to send them at the beginning, because anyways, it's not a hard fork. So we just agree not to send them at the beginning, and whenever client signals we're ready, we just start sending them.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, maybe we can do that a week from now or something like that. Okay, that's good. So let's aim to launch EPBS DevNet 1 maybe tomorrow. And regarding EPBS DevNet 2, I don't think there will be a need for EPBS DevNet 2. I don't expect any drastic spec changes anymore on EPBS, luckily. So I think what we could do is actually discuss Glamsterdam DevNet 0. Maybe we can start talking about the target dates also for that. My initial proposal would be the 15th of April. I know that that sounds like a stretch, but that will give us maybe a fallback date for the 22nd of April. And the 22nd should really be the last day when we launch Amsterdam DevNet 0, because ideally we want to have a very stable merged DevNet before we head out to Interop in the end of this month. And regarding spec-wise changes, Ball DevNet 3 and APBS DevNet 1 would be merged in the EA and CL side. I don't expect to include any new EIPs. What we really want to do is just have a stable testing environment. So whatever is on APBS DevNet 1 and whatever is on Ball DevNet 3 is should be the target for Amsterdam DevNet 0. Yep, photos.
I'm not sure how stable of an environment you want to have for Glamster at DevNet 0, but I think it'll be a mistake to merge BALs with EPBS before we've tested external builders. I think DevNet 1, we're going to be testing external builders, but I do think that we want to have the builder API tested in isolation on EPBS.
I mean, but that's still like 3 weeks away. So like DevNet 1, if it will come online tomorrow, we will have like 3 weeks to test that. So I don't expect that to be an issue. And also DevNet 1 can like run along Glamster and DevNet 0. So if you want to do like very specific EPBS testing
Yeah, no, I
scenarios,
think it's absolutely fine as long as the builder API does not come with hard fork changes. I mean, if the same spec is supported on DevNet 1 than on the builder API, like meaning contacting builders directly over HTTP, then we're fine. If we need to make any changes that are hard fork changes for those, then I'd suspect that we'll need a DevNet 2.
Maybe Bharat can comment on that. I haven't been updated on the latest Beacon API discussions. So.
Yeah, sure. I can take that. I'm not sure what you mean by a hard fork change. So, I have updated the latest spec. I think it should be like fully updated so far. I mean, I think the new builder API will involve like new APIs, but I mean, can take us offline, but it'll involve new APIs. We'll probably not have validated registrations anymore. We will use proposer preferences, and there will be like builder preferences to like indicate like the max trusted bit. So yeah, I guess that'll be a like hard fork change. I think it makes sense to test that in isolation. But on the other hand, also like the builder API is only dealing with like consensus data structures like the bid and the envelope. So I think BALs will anyways be encapsulated like in the bid and in the envelope. So with or without BALs, the builder API won't change with either of them. So that's one thing. But yeah, outside that, I do agree that it makes sense to test the builder API in isolation because, yeah, I mean, with BALs, I don't know how the builder will break. Like, so we are implementing an in-house builder, an external builder. I don't know how that BALs will impact that. I hope it doesn't. But I think I agree with Porter's like isolated like environment for that makes a lot of sense. And then maybe you can integrate with BALs. Yeah.
Yeah, so like my target would be for the first half of April to do this and figure out what kind of spec we want and basically make any kind of Beacon API changes for Glamster and DevNet 0. I don't know if that's realistic. Has any client teams taken a look at what it would be to merge these two feature branches, like the ball side and EPBS side? Do we expect that to be a difficult problem? Yeah, Daniel.
I think you mentioned in the past that there is a little spec change that the ELs need to do now, that we can like reorg to the parent of the current head or something like this for EPBS.
Yeah, I think Marius did that change on gas side, and maybe Portus can comment on it.
Yes, there is currently a line on the engine API that says that if you receive payload attributes for a for choice update for a previous head that is canonical, you may trigger execution and you may trigger a for choice update. That may needs to become a must. Namely, if I send you a for choice update for a block that you consider canonical and is not a tip on your chain, it still may become the head.
Okay, but this is the only change I think, no, that you need from the ELs.
You mean on the ELs? Yeah, so from
Yeah.
uniquely from EPBS.
Yeah.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, then it should not be a big problem, at least for us, because we have all the bar changes in our release branch, so we just need to modify this but I think it's not a big problem.
Okay, thank you. So looks like Nethermind it would also not be a big problem. Very good to hear. And yeah, so APBS DevNet 1 will have Alpha 4, consensus spec Alpha 4 as the target. And yeah, that was the general idea, to basically try to aim for ground truth and DevNet 0 by the second half of April. That's assuming that Paul DevNet 3 will go smoothly next week, and that APBS DevNet 1 will also go smoothly this week and the following week. And other than that, I saw that Bharat also has 2 PRs that he would like to raise. Bharat?
Yeah, I can talk. So we're working on building like the external P2P builder, and also like the builder will implement the builder API. For that, there are like 2 things that would make life like super easy. One thing is this PR, which is basically related to proposer preferences. Like what it involves like an SSE event for the client to stream the proposer preference when it receives them, similar to like attestations. So that'll be like super useful in general, because as a builder, like I want to listen to the preferences. Be very easy if like there is an SSE event for that. I think James from Prism has a draft PR with this, but yeah, I would love like clients to take a look. Nico, I think, raised that this PR should also involve like deprecation of 2 other APIs. I'll leave it up to client devs to work that out. I don't have a lot of context there. So that is one thing. The second thing is, so as a builder, like when you're building like payloads externally, like if my bid gets selected in the block, I want to create an envelope to broadcast. I think the envelope involves a beacon state transition. So it's like, so it'll be nice if there's an API for the builder to like send the beacon block route, the payload and the execution requests, and get back an envelope from the beacon node, which involves also like the updated beacon state route. Like I would love if clients could take a look at this too. Like maybe I raise the PR, like, but maybe there are some more parameters, like, or maybe you want some like more updates on that. Like it would be great if clients could take a look. These 2 like PRs will probably make like building like the external builder like much easier. Like otherwise, like especially for creating the envelope, like right now I have to manually implement the state transition, which is not like very clean. So yeah, like please feel free to take a look when you feel.
Neither of these are hard fork required changes, right? Like we could just add these on DevNet 1.
Yeah, for DevNet 1, yeah, they're not critical. They're just to make the life of like building like a builder easier with all these things. So I don't think they're important for DevNet 1, but it'd be great if clients can like review that and like take that and implement that. So
I'm still a bit confused, like what kind of changes Botus mentioned that would actually require a
There are
hard
no
fork on the Beacon
changes
API.
now on the builder API that requires a hard fork. When we start testing, this may appear. That's why I'm saying it's fine so far with aiming at DevNet 1 for testing the external builder, but we might find ourselves in a situation which is unforeseen. Not many people have seen this builder API yet. We might find ourselves in a situation in which we may need a hard fork and therefore a DevNet 2.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, these changes are also mainly to implement like a P2P builder tool. I'm not even looking
None
to
of the changes that you have now require a hard fork at all. So it's absolutely fine right now.
Yeah, and just to be clear, you're mentioning the APIs, right? Like, or are you mentioning the builder API?
Yes, by a hard fork, I mean something that would be consensus breaking. So we would need a different spec. For example, if you need to change the structure of the bid, or if you need to change the structure of the payload envelope, then yes, we will need a new DevNet.
Oh yeah. No. The builder API definitely, like, I think that's something like I don't want to do. Like, I want to keep it like, I want to make sure it uses the consensus data structures. And outside that, like maybe the request auth and the builder preferences can stay with the builder specs and they don't require like a hard fork. But yeah, I mean, we should definitely like not change these structures for the builder API. At least we should not try to. So.
Okay. Is there any other ePPS related questions or other discussion topics?
I have one question, like, so I can also put it in the EPBS channel, but like now that, and recently, like, Nico has merged the PR and consensus specs to also like broadcast the proposer preferences in the same epoch. So I just wanted to like understand like how the workflow will be. I think at the start of the epoch, I would assume a client is going to broadcast the preferences for like all the validators in the same epoch and also in the next epoch. Basically, like you look at the look ahead, and if a validator is in the current epoch or in the next epoch, like you make sure you broadcast for both cases, which is unlike before where we were only broadcasting for the next epoch. So just wanted to understand if that is like the way it will work.
Maybe Nico?
So I think you would broadcast for the next epoch only, and the current epoch would only be the case if the node hasn't broadcast for that validator. Because I just double checked, there's a gossip rule which basically says it's the first valid message, otherwise it's ignored. I don't know. I guess nodes could just broadcast them again, but I think it's probably wasteful to do that. So if your local node knows it already did it for the next epoch for that validator, I would think we are not gonna rebroadcast the same message again.
Got it. So just to be clear, like I think the happy case is going to be like at the start of the epoch, you broadcast for the like the validators of the next epoch, basically.
Yeah, exactly. And the other case is just in case the node started up, then it will try to broadcast for the current and next, but otherwise only next.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Right. Is there any other questions? In case not, Dan also had a question. Not sure if Dan is around. Regarding whether clients are using Frederick's security rule.
Yeah. Hey, Barnabas. Sorry. Yeah. It was just a quick question, really, whether client teams are available about whether they're aware of this. Thanks for dropping the link of this GitHub action, which was created from Frederick Svantis from the security team at the EF. And I haven't used it myself. It just came up today in discussions because we've kind of realized that with coding agents implementing more of our features in the specs and in clients as well, we kind of need to up our game really in review. And perhaps this could potentially help us to get better automated reviews on the specs that we're implementing or the tests. I hope we get to try this out ourselves in the testing team soon. We should integrate it in our stuff. And I don't think it's a silver bullet, but it could help us. As a follow-up, Dragan from Ref basically also pushed that we could start trying to do a deeper dive into the implementations of clients before we launch a DevNet. So the first step would be really to do a hardcore analysis of the specs against the Markdown. So sorry, the Python specs against the Markdown specs. Then also do a review of the tests, obviously. And once that's in place, that we're confident that the Python specs are in alignment with the Markdown specs, then we should do like at least some kind of automated review of all the client implementations on a per EIP basis before going to a DevNet in order to capture this kind of problem. And I think this is basically the process that happens already by the security team before as we get very close to a hard fork, but I think it could really help accelerate things and get things nailed down on a DevNet basis as well. And with the tooling available today, we can automate quite a lot of this. Anyway, sorry, it's a bit rambling and just a few thoughts, but it was mainly just to create awareness around this GitHub action and see if people were using it. If anyone wants to step up and is using it, then please do chime in right now.
Thank you, Dan. Yeah, I think we can discuss it maybe more on this call or offline. I think it's related to the EL team mainly at this point. Okay. Does anybody else have anything else to raise? Oh yeah, next week call. So next week, Monday is Easter Monday. I know that probably lots of you will be taking the day off. We would be curious whether anyone would be interested in having the call. The default will be canceling. Yeah. Chat has been saying that we're going to be skipping it, so I think we should stick to that. All right. Then I guess 2 weeks from now, in the 13th of April, is the next Awkward Devs testing call. Yeah, and as Marius mentioned, we can do an async update in Discord if anyone else has anything to raise between that and now. Okay, thanks everyone for coming.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Go DevNet. Bye.
Thanks.